Day 3 with yet another empty kombucha bottle in the background. Well, on top, we've got noticeable signs of fermentation. SCOBY growing on top too. Lots of bubbles. Lets me know that the bacteria and the yeast are going to town, eating all the sugar from that honey I put in there. You see at the bottom, SCOBY continues to get larger as well. I'm gonna cover this back up. Coffee filter and the lid. It's kind of hard to screw it on one hand, but that's it. Day 3. Just look at it. All of that fermentation going on. Start to see, this is like mango pulp mixed in with SCOBY growing top. Still see SCOBY at the bottom. Definitely giving that vinegary, sweet, kombucha-like smell. But, I don't know. It's about 80, 75, 80 degrees in here, something like that. So I'll give this maybe 1 or 2 more days before I start tasting. Day 1, nope, day 2 on another batch. Fat ass chunk of watermelon in there. It's got some bubbles on the side, small signs of fermentation beginning. Thin layer of SCOBY being generated at the bottom. And as far as smell goes, still smell fresh. It's not too fermenty. Might add some more stuff to it here shortly. Day 3, still. All right, so it's hot as hell, and it's actually really helping to speed up this fermentation process. So normally when you're making kombucha, you start tasting it around day 5 to 7, and it's usually not ready until about day 10. Well, the closet I had the thing fermenting in right now is around 92 degrees. So I was actually able to go ahead and taste it this afternoon and decided to go ahead and bottle. So I went ahead and bottled it, and I moved on to my next step. This next step in the fermentation process is what actually is going to turn this regular kombucha into kombucha beer. Yes, kombucha beer. I've gone ahead and added some juniper berries, some rose hips, some hops. I'm using, what are we using? What is it that we're using? I gotta get it, hold on. We're using UK Kent hop pellets, right? And this little doohickey on top lets air out but not in. This takes the process of fermentation from an exaerobic, I believe is where things go out and in, to an anaerobic, meaning it only goes one way. What does that mean? That basically means that the fermentation process in here is going to only let out oxygen. The carbon dioxide is going to continue to build up, which gives it bubbles, but it also is going to give it some alcohol content. So with this experiment, we're going to see how much alcohol I can yield out of this kombucha beer. But you can see that it's starting to work because bubbles will appear here in the bleeder. This is still day 3, so I'll probably let this sit for a couple of days and I'll strain it out. Then I'll bottle it. We'll reuse some old kombucha bottles. Actually, this is the one that I used to grow the culture for this batch. You can use any of them though. Really doesn't matter. Like, if you have leftover in the bottle, you see that stuff down there? That's the SCOBY. Usually just leave the chunks at the bottom and pour it in with your tea. It'll start to ferment. But this is actually starting to work right now. I've got another batch going as we speak, and I'll probably put that over into one of these little gallon jugs or so. I'll get back with you guys with an update just to see. Oh yes, one more thing. I added more honey. I didn't want to use refined sugar, so I'm using honey to this batch, and I'm using a champagne yeast because it just sounded good, honestly, you know? So I'll give this about 2 or 3 days. We'll taste it and go from there. All right, this is like day, I don't know, but we're here with the results. This one sat for 24 hours and this one sat for 48 hours. The reason why I chose to do that was just to see which one has more carbonation and which one I prefer. So we're going to start with the 48 hour, actually, which is this one here. You heard that? Ooh, all them bubbles. Guess we'll go with this one while this one settles. So this is the 24 hour. You can smell the rose hips. Not too hoppy. Very light bubbles. Champagne yeast did a good job with that. And it's definitely got a nice little bit of alcohol to it. What we got over here? Holy shit. Always keep a rag somewhere close. Clearly, there's a lot of bubbles in this one. Now, if y'all would just settle down, I can taste it. And the reason why it does that is everything's in here is starved for oxygen. So when you add oxygen, it creates a reaction with carbon dioxide trying to escape, lowers the pressure index on the inside of the bottle. And slowly introduce oxygen back into the environment by twisting the cap. Yes. All right. Ooh, very, very fizzy. Let's see what we got going on. Flavor mellowed a little bit more. Still taste the rose hips. Still taste the hops. Definitely has that kombucha bite. As far as the bubbles goes, this is kind of like a Coors Light type of bubbles, or like a Miller Lite type of bubbles. It's not too heavy, but it's good. I like it. So all in all, truthfully, 24-hour carbonation cycle I prefer, but 48 isn't bad. It just gives you a little bit more bite. That's the results. Taking tea, making kombucha out of it, and then make the kombucha into liquor. Working on a large. Next, as you can see, from the bubbles, it's still doing work. I'll get back to you with the results of this one in about a week or so. Peace.